So this is Sync with My Ford Touch, and as you saw in the keynote address, Sync is our connectivity and voice control platform that enables you to bring in all types of mobile devices and really control them with the sound of your voice with up to 10,000 voice commands. So this is some features: familiar 5-way controls mounted on the steering wheel, an LCD display directly in front of you, 8-inch LCD display in the center stack, clean, efficient controls for audio and climate, and in the center console, if you can get a picture, the media hub. So there's 2 USB ports, SD card slot, and the 3 RCA jacks for audio. So the USB ports can be used for media player like this iPod Nano that I have plugged in, USB thumb drive. This is a 3G broadband modem with a SIM card, so I have an internet connection. I'm creating a Wi-Fi hotspot in the car. The SD cards used for the navigation map data, and the RCA jacks, you can bring in any type of video inputs that you wanted to. So now back to the interface on the display. Each of the major functions are organized into 4 corners: entertainment, phone, navigation, and climate. And the system is configurable and updatable. Configurable. So this home screen, for example, we call it the smart corners. Just the basic functions are available here. Another version, I've uploaded a photo, so you can upload a personal photo via USB. And then also the shortcuts, so all of my favorite functions are organized here, and I can access them from the steering wheel controls as well. Moving on, just going to go around each of the corners to give an example of each of the features. So in entertainment, AM, FM, CD, USB, Bluetooth stereo, SD card, AVN. We'll also support DAB radio when we bring it in Europe. As you know, in North America, we have HD radio and Sirius satellite radio. In Europe, we'll have support for DAB radio. And you can see the album cover art is transferred from my iPod. And then with the Grace Note database, we can get the artist and title information as well as the album cover art displayed on the screen. Moving on to phone. The phone book is automatically downloaded every time you come into the car. Including the contact photo information is also transferred. One of the most powerful things to minimize driver distraction is our ability to read back text messages. So, let me go in and configure this, or what I can do here. Read message.
Welcome to Sync with My Ford Touch. Happy smiley laughing out loud.
So Sync, when you receive a text message, just using the sound of your voice, Sync will read that text message back to you, so you can keep your hands on the wheel and your eyes on the road. It's a better alternative than reaching for my mobile phone, looking at the text and reading
This type of synchronization already exists in some other cars, where you can get a Bluetooth connection and it reads your text message. It exists for 5-6 years. I mean, it's not quite new.
Right. What's different about it is how it's just easily able to say just read message is the ease of use of the voice commands to access that capability. And also one of the things we do with transferring the phone book, we just don't transfer the information, but you can see there's a picture of my wife. That's not her real phone number, so we're okay. A picture of my wife from the phone is transferred to the screen as well. So moving on to navigation, 3D building rendering. So we're simulating that we're in the United States Capitol. You can see the White House, but more about voice control. One-shot destination. Destination street.
Sorry, please say it.
Destination street address.
In District of Columbia, say a street address including the city.
1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington.
When ready, press the voice button and then say set as
calculator route
destination,
that I'm on my
or
way.
say change something.
So much more efficient than using the touchscreen. Just using the sound of my voice, I can say find a restaurant. I can say, yep. This is my. And if you ever forget what you can, I'll demonstrate a few more voice commands. Main menu.
Main menu.
Play artist Fat City. I'll play song. Sorry. I think it's the song Fat City. I'll turn down the volume. The song is Fat City. Play song Fat City. And then Fat City begins to play. An example from phone, I can say call my wife. I can say set temperature 23 degrees. So we're using voice to control each of the major applications on the system, controlling functions in the vehicle like climate control and functions on my device where I have my phone and my media player, my iPod. So moving on to Wi-Fi capability and how we're using Wi-Fi, the wireless and internet screen is great to demonstrate the different ways to connect. So we discussed Bluetooth tethering, but the most useful proposition is definitely using a USB modem and bringing a 3G or 4G or LTE modem via USB that you may already have for your PC. So bring it in, plug it into one of the two USB ports. Then now sync as a mobile hotspot, and now you can share that connection with up to 5 passengers when you're on the road. So the compelling thing here is that as the 4G and LTE technology evolves on the device, we enable the interface to bring that connectivity into the car so we can adapt to the evolution in connectivity, and we allow the user to choose which carrier or which technology is the best for their region.
So you can use an iPhone, a BlackBerry, an Android phone.
Absolutely. Yep, the standard.
Whatever you name it.
Yep, as long as they're using Bluetooth as their interface. So speaking of that, we've talked a lot about connecting to the internet, connecting devices, but now with Sync AppLink, what we'll be doing, what we just launched in the U.S., is controlling the applications on your device. Because what we realized is that applications are being developed rapidly on platforms like you mentioned, Android and iPhone. So in the case of Pandora streaming audio, Pandora internet radio, we're already able to listen to Pandora in the car. This is just an example from the U.S. through Bluetooth audio, but there's no way to control it. So with Sync AppLink, we've exposed those APIs over the Bluetooth interface, so I can use my voice to control the application and say next track and previous track, thumbs up and thumbs down. So as we move forward, we're connecting people to not only their devices, but the applications on their devices, and we're providing connectivity in the car with Wi-Fi.
Okay.
I like the Moleskine notebooks also, by the way. That's how I took all of my notes. It's in my bag back there. I like the grid paper, though.
It's convenient also.
Yes, definitely convenient.
But how do you switch? I don't understand something. How do you switch from Wi-Fi to Bluetooth? How does the well, is it the user that has to choose it on his own devices, or is it the car that makes the choice?
You choose it on your device. So, for example, I'll use the iPad for an example, and how the iPad works. So Ford had no idea that the iPad was being released. We have a relationship with Apple, but not that close. They didn't give us any advanced information. So we bring an iPad into the car. We already had created a Wi-Fi hotspot, so we used the Wi-Fi capability on the iPad to connect the iPad to the internet. It was just a Wi-Fi enabled iPad. So in the back seat, my colleague was watching movies. He was watching YouTube videos in the car. We were doing a drive test. And then as we're driving, he said, "Oh, I'm listening to YouTube videos." Well, watching YouTube videos. Hey, I want to listen to it. Then he used Bluetooth to connect the same iPad to Bluetooth into the car for audio. Then I could hear. So you could kind of see the circle of connectivity that we did with the iPad, because we're using these universal interfaces. So it really allows the user to use their own imagination of what they can do in scenarios like that. If we really wanted to, we have another more low-tech example is the RCA jacks for analog audio and video. Someone would say, well, you've got USB, you've got Wi-Fi, why do you have the RCA jacks? Well, the RCA is really the most common way, the lowest common denominator for providing video connectivity. My Nintendo Wii, when I got my Wii, I was looking for my HDMI port cable, and there was one. They still have the RCA jack. So if you really wanted to, we only allow video when the car's in park and the park brake is applied. You could put a Wii controller here. You could play Wii in the car if you really wanted to, because we're providing the standard.
Right here?
Yes, because we're using anything.
Is that dangerous?
Yeah, well, the video is always locked out when the vehicle is not in park, right? So there's no way that you can watch video on the screen when the vehicle's moving. So when the park brake is applied and the vehicle is stationary, we're able to display video on the screen using through the RCA jacks. Yeah. Any other questions? I know I went really fast through. If you want me to go back and revisit it and explain something else. Do you have the footage or explanation you need? Do you have some questions?
Excuse me. Yes. I had a question. What was my question?
Well, could you just tell me again the four corners?
Corners. Entertainment, phone.
Okay. Entertainment.
Yep, phone.
Navigation.
Yep, phone, navigation, and climate control.
The phone, I missed.
Yep.
And on the wheel, the only command you have is the voice.
Oh no, there's a couple. There's volume. Next to
normal, yeah.
Yep, volume. Next to previous track, normal. Changing the audio source. Then we have the initiating the phone call and ending the phone call.
Okay.
And then the voice button.
Where's the cruise control now?
Cruise control functions over here on the left-hand side.
Okay, and under and up.
Yeah, yes, under this 5-way controller controls the display here. So information, or if I want to go back into settings. Cruise control functions are here. And then of course the turn signal yep. And then these favorite buttons correspond to the favorite icons here. So the features that you choose to customize 1 and 2 can be customized here. Weather, that's a feature in traffic. That's a feature that we have in the U.S. So we have the U.S. software here, and then so we're looking to bring those services to Europe as well. So,
What about Twitter?
Yeah, Twitter. That will be coming once we migrate AppLink to My Ford Touch. So timing is not specific on when we'll bring AppLink to this.
Will you be able to tweet with the voice command? Say, I want to.
Yeah.
Not write, but tell a tweet.
Yeah,
I don't know.
not yet. Yeah, we're working on that. We need a lot of processing power.
Yeah.
We can recognize the
I'm
predefined.
driving my car and I'm stuck in the traffic
Exactly.
jam.
That's
And send the tweet.
yeah. So that's one of the things that we're working towards. So so with AppLink, when we launched it in the Fiesta in the U.S., that's exactly what it does. Just like the text message example, it reads it back to you. But doing the opposite dictation, speaking to it and turning it into text, that's what requires a lot more effort to do. So that's what we're definitely working towards.
And so you work with Microsoft, with who else?
Yes, so Microsoft provides the operating system, the platform, the voice control. We work with Nuance.
Is it Windows C?
Yeah, Windows C, Windows embedded for automotive, which is based on a Windows CE core, customized for the automotive environment. Nuance for the voice control, Telenav for the navigation rendering, and Navtech provides the map database.
Could you tell me a little bit more about Michelin?
Michelin? Yes, yeah. So the travel guide, maybe I can show you an example from the U.S. In the U.S. we have W Cities. So if I go to point of interest.
And then you have to make all those shows by pressing the screen?
Or I could use my voice as well. Yep, I could say I'm hungry to get a list of restaurants. I just chose to use the screen because we're stationary. So here you can see W Cities. There's information about hours of operation, and you can see that is all American cuisine. With Michelin, you'll see an image of the restaurant, whichever image is in the Michelin guide that they provide. Reviews and ratings and things about hours of operation. All of that data is stored on the SD card and presented in the point of interest search. So when you search for a restaurant or you search for a hotel, the data from Michelin is associated with it. So it provides you enhanced information so you can make your decision about your point of view.
And it's only information with the restaurant. You don't make a visit of a city just with the green Michelin guide. looking for points of interest and you want to get information about the cathedral.
Right, so we'll have things about the cathedral, like the Dome Cathedral will be displayed on the map. So once we get that fully integrated, we'd love to show you. It's really going to be.
So you're
amazing
going
feature.
to have more information concerning the cities and things like that, not only restaurants.
Right, correct.
But it's not for existing for the moment.
Yes, not existent for the moment. When we launch in Europe, when we have the European version of the system ready, that will be part of
Futuristic
it.
information, things like that.
Correct. Yep. It's already under development. I've seen some preliminary. We're still working on getting all of the photos categorized, but we have all of the reviews integrated.
And then you'll have something like with the Michelin Guide, you can have your favorite circuit by walking. Could you have it by driving?
That's a great idea. Thank you. That's actually a great idea. So you have like a scenic route.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's been honestly the hardest thing is capturing all of the features and doing all of the things that we want to do because the thing is now this navigation is a software application. All of the data is stored on the SD card. So when we want to do that, and Michelin says, hey, we have the scenic route, and we work with them and say, hey, how could we integrate this into the car? That's an example of the types of things that we do with our different technology partners.
Yeah, fantastic, great.
Good? Yeah.
Thank you.
You feel immersed? I give you a good
good
explanation?
idea,
Yeah, good.
And last question: does Sync will be integrated in all Ford or just some range of the cars?
All Ford vehicles. So here's our philosophy. Yeah, you heard Alan Mulally say, or he said it on a number of occasions. The vision for Henry Ford was to make transportation available to the masses. So he democratized transportation, made transportation available for everybody. We're doing the same thing with technology. So that's why we're sitting in a focus. You might expect us to introduce things like Sync in a luxury vehicle, but everybody wants to be connected independent of which vehicle line. So within the next 5 years, 80% of our vehicle lines globally, all vehicles, the full range of vehicles, cars, all the way through, will have Sync with My Ford Touch. So, yep, eventually it will migrate across the lineup. So. Good.